Yeah, yeah. I had one car that every time I go up in there would hit. Yeah. And it was a Toyota, yeah, Camry. That's funny. It would hit, yeah. But none of my other cars did.
Everybody thinks it's a joke.
It's out over the head.
You've got a lot of ideas. You've been in it since we did a little work inside, not much. I guess the problem.
He really had to work at that third day.
Don, is this your pen?
I don't think so.
That guy's a squirrel.
That's not surprising. Who's the FBI's boss? Yeah.
Yeah, what got me was he said that because she didn't intend to break the law, and I thought, how many people have you arrested who didn't intend to break the law?
Yeah, but along with that, on it, a lot of the Indiana statutes are written with the word intent. In it, yeah, on it, yeah, intended to go in and rob such and such a person. Yeah, on it. And that's one of the steps approved as an investigator, that you have to look at close on it to make sure you got all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed.
Well, yeah, that's what's down the road. A lot of people's eyes are organizations
I think she quit doing hair. She loves it, but she just, the lady that she works with, books her blind evenings, and she doesn't get home a lot of times till 8 or 9.
So, no, that didn't surprise me at all.
No,
I knew
no,
it. I knew that.
It would have happened a long time ago.
You know what my definition of the FBI is?
Totally
Famous
understand.
but incompetent.
Well, you know,
And that's from working
I was
with
up
them.
in NRA, and I was up in Shipshewana, and this Amish gal was a cash register, she says, "You're not really honest."
You get to know the Amish up there. They're hunters and they got guns in the house. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they'll poach a deer in a
Say
minute.
something on this.
Yeah.
I've heard that, but I know they're not, because I've run into them.
John said, because he said
Hunt,
something.
fish, and all that.
Oh, yeah, you should bring it with a boat behind with the motor on it.
Yeah, you do. And you, Emma Lake, where you go out around it, like that, there's always a buggy there, fishing. Yeah, yeah, I worked in LaGrange
Okay, at this
County
time, I'll
for
call
4 years.
July council meeting to order. Would you please stand for pledge allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll close out of the council meeting and enter into a public hearing. At this time, we have a request for a correction of abatement. John?
Yeah, so, Ag Plus, well, I spelled it out in the memo there, having to do with the abatement that Ag Plus applied for in 2015. It looks like maybe some of the paperwork got a little messy along the way and weren't able to go back and find the appropriate paperwork when it came time to, for them to file their compliance forms this May. So the public hearing portion of this is the council has to hold a public hearing to see if anyone objects to the council considering to go back and correct the abatement. So it's basically asking the council to waive the prior requirements in terms of everything being filed appropriately in the first place. And then, assuming that you agree to waive those requirements, then you could go ahead and consider the abatement, to grant the abatement or not grant the abatement during your regular meeting. But, again, because the way the statute's written, you have to have a public hearing first to say whether or not you waive the compliance requirements on the front end. So that's the public hearing piece.
Move to approve that.
Okay, the first is there a second? Okay, any further discussion? If not, in favor, raise your right hand. All of them opposed, the same. Thank you.
Wait a minute, John, just a question. Was this the facility down on 9?
Yeah, so Peabody.
It says Peabody, but it is facilities over on 9 where they did that fertilizer
The
stuff.
Briggs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that it? I'm just asking.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Okay.
so, Jeff.
Fine. Looking at the wrong face, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. That, because it said Peabody in there, that's why I wanted.
Does anybody else have anything on this matter? If not, I'll close out of the public hearing and enter back into the council meeting. Okay, at this time, we have to approve the resolution 2016-07. It's a waiver of non-compliance. We have the second one is there's more than one? No.
I got a question. All the vehicles of, whether it's Synergy or Ag Plus, whatever, are they all titled here in Whitley County at the corporate office in South Hudson? I mean, wherever they're located at?
Yes.
Even the ones over there that, they're in Ohio? Those ones in Ohio too?
Well, we don't have anything in Ohio.
Oh, you don't have one over at Wilshire?
No.
Oh, I thought you had one there.
But we have some in Allen County, we just title them, it's a South Whitney address.
World headquarters in Southwood.
Okay, the waiver of non-compliance, we need to approve that or
Yeah,
for,
it's kind of all right then,
that's right.
explain that, John, or Mr. Commissioner, we approved something.
Yeah, we're approving the resolution.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I so moved.
Okay.
Yeah, and I second.
The first and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. And now we need to approve the deduction. The number for that resolution is 2016-08.
So we gotta approve this resolution after we already approved it.
Right, this is
There are two resolutions.
Oh,
One,
yeah.
you have to decide whether you're gonna waive the requirements.
Oh,
Right.
Which you just approved. And then the second question is, okay, here's all the paperwork for the abatement. Do you approve the paperwork?
yeah, I approve that resolution. Make a motion, move that we approve it.
okay.
Second.
First and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Okay, John, do you want to say anything on the final bond approval?
Well, yeah, so this is, and I'll let Brian add anything as he sees fit, because he's been more in the middle of it as the finance guy. But, so this has to do with the restoration medical project that is going on out at Park 30. I don't know if you've seen the dirt moving out there, but the company's building a new building to create polymers for the medical device industry in Warsaw and other places, but I don't know, as many knees as we, new knees as we have here on the council, may end up with some of their materials in your knee here someday. But great opportunity, great paying jobs, a lot of chemical engineers and other materials specialists that will be working at the company, working in Whitley County, paying Whitley County seated tax, and hopefully building homes and living here in Whitley County as well. So, great opportunity, again, for a company. I mean, there's probably, I think there are only 2 other companies in the entire world that do this. So we'll have the 3rd here in Whitley County, which is pretty cool. So, so anyway, so the bond is to help finance the building. This is not, it's kind of a pass-through deal. There's no current liability related to the bond. It's just simply gives the bond special tax treatment. So when the bank that will buy the bonds, buys those bonds, they pay a little less tax on the interest on the bonds. So it has to have your blessing for the bank to get that special tax treatment.
We've done this previously for, I think, for Micropulse at one time. In others, this is not the first time we've done that.
Well, with this, Kim, as chairman of the Economic Development Commission, we met this morning on it, and myself, Tom Rethlick, and Ben Romine approved it also.
Okay. Brian, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I mean, we've done these before with the county, and acts as a conduit so the bank can get tax exempt status on the interest income. Issuer and Lake City Bank.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, is this paperwork that really, is that the holdup out there? Is we gotta get all that done?
No, it's not the holdup. We've been dragging our feet a little bit on building design, and we're designing buildings for a specific purpose. So it's not just a general structure.
Right.
Plant layouts change somewhat, as needs move around a little bit. The building's on order, and starting the next week, you're going to see a lot more activity out there. But with winter months and whatnot, we intentionally have been dragging our feet a little bit, just waiting for some things to mature and keep moving along. But this is, at this point, it's not a holdup.
Yeah, okay, I didn't want this to be the holdup. All right, thank you.
Other questions?
Ordinance number?
2016-06.
I make a motion, we approve the ordinance.
Is there first a second? Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, raise your right hand. All of them opposed, the same. Thank you, John. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Yes.
Steve Struggle.
Sorry, Jim.
For sure working.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the back.
We've struggled, as you know, for a couple of months to get this system working so that we can videotape these. What we've learned is you can't hear anyone out there. So in our commissioner meetings, we have anyone that speaks come to that last chair there where the microphone's at. Then we're assured that they're on the audio as well as the video. So I just didn't know if that was important to you guys or not, but there's a microphone.
Go ahead. Okay.
But it just doesn't pick up, so I just thought I'd mention that.
Thank you.
Good idea.
Debbie, would you like to take a seat?
Wow, this makes me feel special. Well, good morning. So let's go ahead. It's the first part of my budget. Do you have the 101 clerk right in front of you?
Yes.
All right, this one is pretty much self-explanatory, so if you have any questions in looking at it, please, I will bring to your attention towards the bottom, equipment and program maintenance. A big portion of that, $10,000 worth of that, I am taking out of 4202, which should be your second page. $10,000 is being taken out of document storage to help pay for that. And then also too on the next page, out of 8899 clerk's incentive, I can only take a small percentage out of the child support incentive fund, but I'm trying to take out as much as I can to help with county general funds. Basically, that's about it. As far as bank service fees have not gone up. My case management, CSI, there's no increase in fees there at all. Fees, I have increased a little bit on dues and subscription. Dues have gone up for the AIC Clerks Association. And as far as travel and mileage, that has gone up a little bit. I've requested a little extra there. Because my office is unique and it's split in 3 different divisions, I have election, I have child support, and I have clerks. I feel like that we are down in Indy for training and conferences a lot, so I have increased that a small amount. So that's this one, if you have any questions. I know in the bank fees, I know Jim, usually, you know, that I know is a source of irritation for you, Jim, but what I did is I did some searching after last year and checked with State Board of Accounts. There are only certain banks that are approved for us to use, and I have checked with those banks here in town, and we're really getting the best deal at Lake City Bank. I can't use any kind of credit unions or anything that the State Board of Accounts is very picky on that, so.
You know, the state's eliminated your competition, for one thing.
I know, Jim, yeah, I know. That's why I did some searching after last year, because I know
Do
that.
we keep money on deposit with Lake City, or?
Yes, absolutely.
In looking through your budget for 2017, the changes are highlighted in yellow?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Shannon did that for me, yes.
Makes it easier for us.
I will remember to do that next year then. If no questions there, then moving on to document storage, we already went through that. 10,000 there is going for equipment and maintenance. As far as clerk's incentive money, I am paying salary and wages of my child support deputy. I can only pay her 30% of her wages out of that. So that's where that's coming from. And we do a time study periodically, so if her workload increases at all, then I would be able to increase that and take more out of that. But right now, that's where it stands. And then the big shocker, turn it over for the election. I got this bright idea that I would come and talk to you about this. Next year, 2017, is off an election year. We do not have an election. But at this point, what our Infinity voting machines are needing within the next 3 to 4 years for sure is an update in the software. And if you look, I've got for Microvote, there is an estimate of the cost. It's sticker shock. It isn't something that has to be done for next year, but it has to be done, like I said, within the next 3 to 4 years for everyone to be in compliance. And I thought, well, maybe this would be the time to do it on an off election year, just keep our budget, our election budget in place and go for it then for next year. But
Do you
that would
anticipate
be
any grant money to help pay for any of that?
no grant money for that.
They're just telling you need to do it, they're not gonna tell you how to pay.
You figure out where the money is, huh?
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's what I and all of you do, yes.
Are these machines, are there any issues, or is this just a mandate?
No, it's just a software update. And basically what the state is heading towards are vote centers. So right now, our software would not be in compliance to be able to have vote centers. Right now, it is a choice of every county clerk to decide whether or not to have vote centers or not, and we choose not to. We've combined our precincts. I think we've done a really good job with that. The voters are extremely happy, but the state, you know, a lot of times comes back and says, this is mandated, this is what you're going to do. And all of the meetings that I've been to, right now, we have the choice, but I know in the near future, it's coming to the point to where we're not going to have a choice. So, and that also brings me to the e-poll books. The e-poll books, you'll see that there is an estimate there too, on the e-poll books. This is from No Ink. The election board and myself have done research for the past 3 years on e-poll books. Are you all aware of what e-poll books are? You have a picture there of what they look like, kind of. You turn to this one here in the back. It just kind of, I know it's dark, but it gives you a picture. Right now, when you go into your polling locations to vote, you'll have the clerks that'll sit there and they'll have a poll book. And what they do is they flip back and forth, you know, to find you. They flip it around like this, the voter signs it, and then you move on. With the combination of our precincts, sometimes we have up to 3 precincts, so we have 3 poll books, and they're searching for you. A e-poll book, what it is, it looks like a little, well, you can see there, it's just a little screen. And what happens is take the voter's driver's license, swipe it, it immediately brings up that voter. There's a signature pad, they sign it, and they're done within 30 seconds. Just boom, 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 boom. So it goes very quickly, and it stores all this information, and then with vote centers, what it does is it takes that information, sends it back to us at the clerk's office, and is constantly updating who voted. So that just, it updates. You can see here, basically it talks about the ease of use. It's very easy, it's user-friendly, and believe me, I'm not a computer whiz at all. And all of the e-poll books that we have researched, this was very, very user-friendly. It's very advanced. It also, they are working with Microvote, who is our vendor for our Infinity machines, and it works very well with our Infinity machines. Now, if all of you were to talk about, okay, we can't approve all of this at one time, I do want to tell you that because we have about a 3 or 4 year window with the upgrades, my choice would be the e-poll books. We'd be able to save money, we have less workers. The functionality at the polling locations would be so much quicker and easier. And then a big portion of the money would already be taken care of to implement vote centers. So, but that's, I know you're going to have a big discussion about what I'm requesting. I just thought that maybe on an off-election year, if we retained the election budget, maybe we could knock some of this out, but.
Refresh our memory though, what was in this year's budget for elections?
I had around $100,000.
Okay.
So I know this goes way beyond that 100,000. Now, if you look at my budget, there's still some in the election budget that I have to maintain. The county election board still gets paid on an off-election year. I still have election supplies, very small, about 2,000, because what we'll have to do in 2017, we'll have to prepare for 2018.
Right.
So that's what that is. And I still have the maintenance agreement. Whether we have an election or not, I still have to pay that election agreement for Microvote. And then there are still conferences. So that would be something I would keep in the budget regardless. The rest of it is then, as you can see, beyond that, so.
You have some problems once in a while getting enough help, don't you?
Yeah.
So
I
what-
have to say, I'm so proud of Whitley County. I mean, I go to conferences and I hear people gripe and just complain and how they can't get workers and so forth. I feel so blessed, I do. Yeah, we scramble, Kim, we scramble at times, but it is nothing like, I don't know, I'm just so proud of Whitley County and the voters and the workers. And
So what would that cut you back to if you went this way? How many workers would you need?
Well, right now, in let's just say, okay, let's go with Churubusco out at the Boy Scout building. There are 3 precincts out there, and it's huge, it really is. I cannot have more than 7 workers, even at that huge area. You have your inspector, you have your 2 clerks, you have your 2 judges, and then you have your 2 assistant clerks, which are added people for larger. If we go with the e-poll books, it's going to cut those clerks down probably from, say, 5 at that place, at that location, to probably about 2. You're still going to have those 2 judges. You know, the judges are the ones that take you to your machine and they pull up your ballot. You're still going to have the judges. You can't cut that down, and you can't cut down the inspector, but you most definitely can cut the clerks. Depending on how large the precincts are, we might even be able to go to 1 clerk.
I appreciate the fact, the statement you made a little earlier, that these, if we ever are close to voter centers, these can also be used.
Yes, and matter of fact, you'll have to have these to go to vote centers. So,
What's your best guess on when we'll have to go to voter centers?
you know, the state is, and as you all understand, as far as how the state goes, right now, they're just, everybody has the choice, and that's what they also said about child support, and that's also what they said about election, with what we do now. Everybody has the choice, and then 2 years later, hey, guess what, state mandated, you gotta do this. Find the money, but I cannot give you exactly, Bill, I
I
don't
just thought
know.
maybe you had a good guess.
You know what? I'm just gonna throw out the next 4 years, because that could possibly be why Microvote's pushing within to have the software upgrade be in compliance in the next 3 to 4 years.
Thank you.
I know. I was nervous coming in here.
We're not that bad, are we?
You're not, but I know, I understand, it's a lot of money. And I've put a lot of thought into this, and I thought, well, maybe the best time to try to do this is on an election year, and try to keep our election
People don't
budget.
realize the amount of money it takes.
They don't.
For an election.
They don't.
I mean, the public has no idea.
The
Yeah.
hardest part to swallow is it's knowing that it's an ongoing thing then,
Yes.
because it's always gonna be updates and.
Yes. Will tell you this is the really good thing though, Glenn. We've had the Microvote Infinities for the past 12, 13 years and not had to do an upgrade. The machines are awesome. They're getting old, but they function beautifully. There's no problems whatsoever with them. I'm so pleased with Microvote Infinity machines. They're a great company, and they're there for us. Their service is wonderful, so.
Anything else, Debbie, you'd like to
I
enlighten
don't
us
think
on?
so. Thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
being understanding and
Any
thinking it
question
over.
for Debbie while she's here?
No. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rita, you can have the hot seat
I can
now.
have the hot seat now. Thanks. I warmed it up for you, Rita. Thanks. I'm not asking for anything, so you know. Mine should be relatively simple. If you want to open the county general for the assessor sheet. And really, the only thing there, of course, my salary is split between the county and reassessment. So I tried to split that up about 50-50 this year. Otherwise, the only other increase was the equipment and program maintenance. And again, that just has to do with the increase of our maintenance agreement. reassessment, I didn't change anything. As far as the other, anything else?
Any other questions for Rita while she's here? I guess not.
All
So,
right.
thank you, Rita.
You're very welcome, thank you.
Mr. Myers?
I'm back.
There's a handout with a little information, but basically that time of year, when I come in and ask for money for our budget for next year, for 2017, as you guys start looking at budget stuff. I am not asking for any change, any increase in the budget, but I know we've had it the same 2015, 2016, 2017, $168,000 in seeded money and $31,200, which is basically rent-free space here in the county building. So that's just a value that's set, not actual dollars coming out, other than paying the light bill and stuff of that nature. Just interesting note, coming up on our 25th anniversary as an organization here in Whitley County. I was flipping back through the paperwork the other day and saw that Bill Overdeer incorporated the EDC on January 9th, 1992. So kind of been along for the whole 25 years, Bill. But as you know, because I've been here, off and on, I mean, what we do is we're here really for a single point of contact for not only businesses that are in the county and providing jobs and investing and such in their businesses, to help them with really anything that may come up with county government or the community or the city or anything like that. And then in addition to that, in terms of helping them grow and prosper, then also go out and look for other businesses to bring to the county, again, that may want to set up shop here and again, provide jobs. We're in the process right now of let's say streamlining, focusing some of our current programs. Over the last couple of years, we've taken on a lot of different things in terms of adding this program, adding that program, and not without necessarily any consistent thought as to why we do what we do, or maybe it seems like a good idea, but then the program just continues to live on, even though it outlives its original purpose. So again, kind of refocusing. You can see what we have there is our mission generally, which is to create employment opportunities and attract investment to the county. I guess the added focus that we're trying to bring to it is, not only employment, but employment with good jobs, employing people that are going to live here, pay seeded tax, build homes here, raise their families here. We're not in the business of corporate welfare. If if somebody comes in and wants to bring a company here, bring jobs here, we want to make sure that that investment that they're making and the people that they're hiring are, again, are folks that they're going to pay taxes here, and for some, you know, relatively small investment from the county and encouraging them and incentivizing them to do that, that we create a situation where, you know, within 3 to 5 years, they paid all that, essentially paid all of that back in taxes, and we are then, you know, have a broader tax base to support all the other things that we need to support families here in Whitley County. So, again, you'll just, that's, again, just tightening up that focus. So we're not just coming in here anytime somebody wants an abatement or wants this or wants that. We'll do a cost-benefit analysis and make sure that it makes sense for the county to invest in that. And I know some of the stuff that I brought in previously over the past year, I've done that, and I'll have a summary sheet that shows what you can expect in tax revenues over time and what the cost is now versus what it is you'll get back. You know, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time going through you know, the different sheets in this presentation that I have here, but it gives you a sense of the types of programs that we have. Also, you know, the different folks that we partner with. We've been doing a lot with Purdue University here lately in helping our manufacturers in particular get better at what they do so they can compete globally. Also a big focus on talent, not only growing talent here, but how do we go out and recruit talent? How do we get folks, again, how do we get folks to move to Whitley County and build homes, rent apartments, whatever. So that's our focus. Again, since I was asking, I thought at the very least I should probably come in and give you guys the opportunity to grill me and ask any questions that you might have in terms of, gee, John, why'd you do this, or why are we taking that approach, or whatever. So I won't waste a lot of time rambling anymore.
Any question for John while he's here?
I don't have any questions. I do have a comment, and I thank you for trying to have it's like a summary sheet to show how that's gonna help us in the future, and, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and so you know, I mean, if I kind of filter some of that stuff out. Now, if somebody says, I want to go ahead and file for a tax abatement or whatever, okay, well, we kind of have to do that and give them the opportunity. But, you know, 99% of the time, if they haven't convinced me that it's a good idea for Whitley County, you're probably not even going to see it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, yeah, we rely on you being a filter for it.
You got more important things to worry
You
about.
filter them out, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. I just want to make a comment. You know, you mentioned earlier we're 25 years old now, and I kind of appreciate the fact that stepping back and taking a broader look at some of these programs that are still needed, and some of them, you know, have outgrown their usefulness.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we have this budget and we're just not throwing money at stuff that's not needed.
Yeah, I was telling somebody the other day, I figured out that for every household in Whitley County, on average, each household pays $65 a year to support economic development efforts within the county. So, you know, it's, I think about that every time I look at one of these projects. You know, is it worth taking $65 from some family that you know, needs the money for groceries, needs the money for utilities, you know, any number of things that may be better spent than, again, giving a tax abatement to somebody who wants to pay minimum wage on some jobs that, you know.
Along that same line, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to, as you recruit
companies, that they are getting somewhere near the average pay in Willow County. That's important, I think. So,
Yeah. Yeah, gotta keep moving it out.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything else? Thank you, John.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
So the next one will be everything. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Randy?
Good morning.
Morning.
I want to take the opportunity to address the council on what I believe is a poorly conceived proposal to strip me of my health care benefits. Begin with, Indiana code, clearly states, elected officials and full-time employees. Elected officials are, by statute, eligible to receive the health care benefits. And then secondly, taking my health care benefits effectively reduces my compensation by over 50%, which is just an absurd proposition. Apparently this is under the notion that, yes, I'm a full-time or a part-time employee. I'm not a part-time employee, I'm an elected official. I'm the coroner, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I receive calls all hours of the day and night. And quite frankly, I've run the coroner's office for less money than it's been run in many, many years. So, but apparently this issue has to come through the council, so I just wanted to let you guys know that how I feel about it, and it's going to affect many of you the same way. I just think that trying to balance a budget on the backs of the lowest paid individuals is really false economy. There are departments and budgets much more significant than mine. My entire budget is less than some people's salary that work for the county. So that's kind of long and the short of it. Don't know if we have any more comments, issues.
I have a question for Don or maybe for Pam, but does the, for lack of a better word, Obamacare have anything to do with this?
That to Leslie, who's out here in the audience, insurance or medical insurance.
Okay.
We did look at the hour requirements.
Come up here so we.
Yeah, come on up.
When we looked at the plan. We did look at the hour requirements. The Affordable Care Act does require that employees work 30 hours a week. I did go to Unified Group Services, which is the TPA that processes your medical claims. We went to Fager Baker Daniels, on the statute. And the attorneys there indicated that they can't find anything that says one way or another that elected officials must or must not be covered. Everything we see or hear says it's up to the government unit as to whether it offers elected officials coverage or not. I can tell you, in talking with Unified, there's another county, Hendricks County, and the town of Pendleton. They're also making this exact same change effective January 1st to their health insurance plans, where they're removing those elected officials who do not work 30 hours or more a week from their health insurance plan. So you're not the only county that's doing this as of January 1st.
We were told by our previous carrier, you, Bill and the rest of you, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I get this right, that by carrying, like some of us and Randy and other ones, that this comes from the United States Treasury Department, which I couldn't believe would have anything to do with it, but by carrying us, it saved us quite a bit of money on our premium, isn't that what we were told?
That's what we were told, that's been some years ago.
Well, it hadn't been that many years.
No,
It
but
might
it's
have been
not-
5 or 6 years ago.
About 5 or 6 years ago.
But that's what was, there was some question then whether we should be on there, whether we shouldn't.
Right.
And they came in and addressed it with the commissioners and talked to us about it, that, because the United States Treasury said that this is the way to do it, that it saved us quite a bit on our premiums. It seemed kind of strange, but
And when we looked at it, we presented with, I think there was 15 employees that we looked at removing as of 1/1. When we ran the numbers, your rates actually came down because it lowered your overall age of the group by removing those individuals from the plan. So when we looked at it for the transition for January 1st, the rates actually came down.
That 30-hour figure that you mentioned a little bit ago, and that's really come through basically the Obamacare stuff.
Sure does.
That's what's called the shots.
Yep. And if we make the exception for one that doesn't work 30 hours a week, you have to, I mean, you can't just make an exception for
right.
one, you have to do it across the board.
Correct.
Because otherwise you're setting precedent and you can get into discrimination if you,
So we can thank our federal government for that.
And at this point, we have around 70 part-time employees. So that
How many?
would
Pardon me?
as well, 70.
Come on up in front.
At this point, we have around 70 part-time employees, so that would include them as well, according to what Leslie said.
Yep.
If we offer for one, we have to offer for all.
for everybody.
On the case of Randy, which to me is a little bit different than council, for instance, he's on call 24 hours a day. I suppose to some degree we are too, we don't do anything, but Randy get called out in the middle of the night. Would it be legally and a good idea to simply put his insurance, have him ask in his budget request for insurance?
You could certainly do that, that would be up to the council to
Yeah,
allow that
yeah,
to happen,
up to
but I
order
can't
that,
say
but that would-
he wouldn't be able to stay on the plan he's currently on under our group plan, because we have to abide by the ACA regulation.
Right.
So he could do that, seek other insurance elsewhere,
Yeah,
and then put it in his budget.
yeah, we
That
can't
is
put him
correct.
on our insurance.
Correct,
Right.
yeah, we
So-
couldn't do that.
And we could, like he's got in there, we're not really providing insurance, but it's compensated in his salary.
Yeah.
Yes, compensation, yeah.
Because you can't directly pay for his coverage if he goes off on his own plan, but you can do it on the back end where you,
Correct, and he can buy
Increase.
his own insurance
Yep.
and buy extra amount
Yep.
of money.
According to her, that's $2,200 a month for the same coverage I have right now for me and my wife.
That's anywhere you check?
Well, she's the person we're dealing with, so that's where I checked at.
I ran those numbers and that was as of August 1st, because obviously January rates are not issued yet. That does not include any tax credit if he and his wife are eligible for a tax credit. So that was just straight rates as of August 1st for a comparable
Have you
plan.
checked any other carriers? Are they all that price?
I would imagine everything's gonna be reasonably close, but the whole issue is, I'm not an employee, I'm an elected official.
That's correct.
So you're not making an exception to cover employees.
Well, if the federal law says what we gotta do, we gotta abide
Correct.
by it.
Yeah,
Because the fine's pretty stiff if we don't.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you're separate from like a part-time,
Well,
like we, not just separate from us.
That's right. Well, we didn't write the rules either. We just have to abide by it.
when I brought that up, I'm only asking for thoughts on that. Is that something we should think about? It's not saying what
you're not old
necessarily
enough
should.
for Medicare, are you?
I wouldn't be doing this if I was.
I understand what you're saying, Randy, but, and we gotta work something out, but we didn't write the rules either.
Right, and the way I understand it is, I don't think it's an exception because, the statute specifically says elected officials, full-time, and full-time employees. Elected officials are a different group. Quite frankly, all of you folks being elected officials should still be eligible to receive the same coverage you're already receiving because you are an elected official.
Yeah, but like I said, we didn't write the 30-hour rule.
But you
That
just
comes
said
from
Baker
federal
Daniels
government.
don't agree with that, didn't you?
Baker Daniels says that it's up to the governmental unit to decide whether or not they cover those elected officials or not. So if you make the stance that you're not covering elected officials, it needs to be across the board. You can't make the exception for one because you open it up then again for discrimination for the rest of you, at that point in time. So if you're gonna cover Randy, then at that point in time, the rest of you that are elected officials would have to be covered as well.
So those are the rules. The only thing we can do is compensate him some other way to get his own.
That would be my recommendation, yes.
Just give him
And I'm just asking questions so
Yep.
I can make sure I understand this.
Absolutely.
Officials, or are we talking part-time officials?
This is elected officials as far as from what Baker and Daniels says. It's up to the governmental unit to decide whether or not to cover them. Like I said, you're not the only county that's doing this.
I'm not so sure it wouldn't be cheaper just to keep it like it is than to come up with additional compensation, but
But then you have to look at it across the board for all of the ones that we're covering.
right, elected officials.
Correct.
Well, Pam, do you know what the savings was?
200,000.
215,000
$215,000.
annually.
I can't believe that. That's a correct figure, but I'm sure it's right, or you wouldn't have said it.
It
For
is.
how many people?
15.
215,000 for 15 people.
Yep.
Well, when I dropped off of the insurance a number of years ago, Vicki told me it's $600 savings a month.
Yeah.
When I
it's-
dropped
it's
off.
significant.
How much you say it cost a month to replace what you have?
It was 2,000, 2,200.
So we're talking $25,000 a year. In order to cover it, we'd have to add $25,000 to his salary. I'm not saying we'll do that, but it's just something we need to think about. The only other option he's got is going to
That's 14,000.
Obamacare.
They don't need to be charged.
Or you can look at other options.
What?
That's a big deal, insurance.
Right now,
What a
what he
ripple.
was quoted was what our current coverage is right now for everybody. They should look at
Yeah.
different plans.
I'll give you some
Depending on
insurance.
that.
Can you do that?
Okay, anything else? Or we have questions on the insurance?
You'll be in on the 12th on your budget?
Yes, I
Yeah.
kind of have two different numbers, not knowing how this is going to turn out.
But you planned on coming back for 12?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Gives us a little chance to chew it.
I was hoping, we get this out and maybe come to some resolution prior to, but I've got numbers both ways.
I think you better bring your numbers both ways and give us a chance to think about it.
Yeah,
Give us a chance to chew on it, 'cause, yeah.
but, I don't know, I never expected to get rich doing this job, but I didn't expect to go bankrupt doing it either.
Understand.
So, and, a heart attack, that's $500,000.
I just want to make a comment that we're talking about how much insurance runs per month, but do you not right now pay for some of that?
Out of my check, yeah.
Yes, so you will have to,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's not the big gross, it's the net.
Have to take that into account, yeah.
He already pays for some.
Yeah, that's right.
And I will say, as a person involved in this, I'm not gonna come to you and ask you to put money in the commissioner's fund to help fund my insurance.
And I can tell you too.
I'm just
that
gonna do it.
We're still gonna be able to offer dental and vision for elected officials and everybody else too. So we are going to be able to offer that at this point, because that's totally voluntary. The county doesn't pay for any of that premium. Dental insurance has allowed us to.
I don't know anything about Medicare, none of this stuff. Do people on Medicare, do they have dental insurance when they go to the dentist, or how do they do that?
No.
Huh?
You can buy a separate policy if you're of Medicare age for
But if
dental
Medicare don't
expenses.
take care of dental
No.
bills, you're on your own?
Right.
Okay, Randy, before you take off,
Really quick, that since you're resourcing your
Right.
telephone line item, I did do a transfer for you.
Yes.
So-
I was not aware that claims were being made on my account for those Wi-Fi units. And I'm gonna get those back and give them back because, you know, obviously if I didn't know the money was coming out of there, it makes it hard to plan that way. But yeah, I'm gonna take that off and I don't use them myself.
I just had a thought, we were talking about because of our age, our premiums are higher because of a lot of people's age, and myself is probably one of them. Does our insurance not, do we not claim Medicare first and then the insurance picks up the difference?
No, if you have a primary group insurance, whether you're of Medicare age or have Medicare or not, that primary group insurance is always first. So the claims hit
Well,
our insurance first.
My insurance, Medicare pays what they pay, and then my insurance picks up the balance.
You're talking about
You have a
supplement.
sub.
You're talking about supplement.
Correct. You have
Right?
supplement.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
when I retired, they paid it all until Medicare kicked in.
Yeah.
And then, now they just pick up the,
Yep.
Yeah,
So you have a
Medicare,
sub
I-
plan.
Yeah.
I had to sign up for Medicare, but I can't go on Medicare because my employer offers health insurance.
yes, I understand that. That's one reason why I went off, because I had too many primaries, and it just was messing me up.
A few years ago, when we were, unless I don't know how many years ago, I thought about I'm on the insurance plan, and I thought, well, just change it to a supplement. I don't need anything but a supplement. And the insurance company wouldn't do it.
You can't do it.
You can make, and I'm not a Medicare expert, we do have an expert at STAR that works just solely in Medicare, but there are certain times in the year where you can make changes, you know, but I do know, once you reach the age of 65, it is definitely advantageous for you to go solely Medicare, and you can get the best of the best for a lot less than what the county is paying for their insurance.
Well, our insurance company at that time couldn't do that.
So yeah, I don't specialize in Medicare, but I know a little bit about, but I do know that you can definitely get it a lot cheaper. And there are certain times of the year that you can enroll and change your plans,
Yeah.
and that's at the latter part of the year.
I was thinking, maybe, I don't know whether there's an insurance company that would do that, cover you until you're eligible for Medicare, and then just be a supplement after that.
You mean the county pick up the supplement?
Yeah, right. Which maybe save us a lot of money if everybody was covered.
You guys ever look at that?
Can we do that legally?
Where a person's on Medicare and then had the county.
It gets
had the
sticky, really
Yeah.
does.
Medicare and supplement?
I can't imagine that being allowable.
Yeah, it gets
Well,
real
how does-
sticky because you're
How do
covered.
corporations get away with it? Then if it's not allowable?
They're increasing this, they're doing it on the back end, so they're increasing the salary of those employees to offset those premiums. If you do it for one, you have to do it for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that, yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, when you look at it, somebody's Medicare premium, you know, I sat next to Jana, and once we reach age 65, her policy could be totally different than mine. My policy could be a lot more than hers as well, because her medical needs may be different than my medical needs. So, I mean, the premiums range from an Advantage plan to a sup plan, and it ranges from individual to individual. So when you look at it, you may have somebody that has medical issues, say, I have medical issues and I need the best of the best, and my plan's $200, where Jana's is only $44, at that point in time, she's gonna come and say, wait a second, she's getting a lot more for her plan than I'm getting. So you run into that issue as well.
I'd like to get back to Randy's problem a little bit. How do we determine that he's a part-time employee?
Who makes that determination?
I guess, how do you report?
Quite frankly, the determination that I'm a part-time employee is erroneous because I am the coroner 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Do you have a deputy?
I have deputies.
You have deputies, right?
I take care
So
of
you don't
99.
have to do 24/7.
I take care of
365.
99% of my work.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
My
you
name,
have deputies.
my name goes on the paperwork, my name goes on the death certificate.
I just
I
don't
was
know how
elected
we
a coroner,
determine
I
that
do
he's
the
a
work.
part-time employee.
I guess my thought is, I understand the 24/7. How many hours a week do you get called out on calls?
It varies, I don't know.
Depends on who dies.
Yeah.
And how they did it.
Yeah.
I get calls from nursing homes to the hospital, the police, you know. There are many requirements that if someone dies in a nursing home, they had a fall within a year and a day, they gotta call me. I mean, how many people have been in a nursing home that hadn't had a fall within a year and a day? You know, then I have to determine, am I gonna work a case on that or not? You know, hospital, somebody goes into the hospital, dies within 24 hours of admission, they have to call me. You know, I have to determine, you know, am I gonna work the case on this or not? So, you know, besides the fact that I get calls from family members ad nauseum, and then organ procurement organizations, they're not shy about calling me no matter what the time of day or night is. So, you know,
That's still
I'm
an
glued to
answer
the
to the
phone
question.
a
How
lot.
did we determine that he's a part-time employee?
I can tell you that based on wages is how it's been determined here
Wages.
within the county, yes. And other counties do the same. So based on wages, like as far as council.
For so many
commissioners,
dollars
board,
a year,
yeah.
you're part-time,
You guys
Bill,
are
now
set
you're
at a
full-time.
part-time wage right now on our wage scale versus an auditor who's set at a full-time wage on our pay scale. So that's how it's determined at this point. And other counties do the same system.
But basically, though, up to the council and commissioners determine whether that's full or part-time. I can understand calling council part-time, but I would have a hard time finding the coroner to be a part-time.
I can tell you as far as the
Have a hard
commissioners,
time
I mean, they're all,
calling the
they're called
commissioners
to
part-time.
24/7, they get calls all the time. And I'm sure you guys do too.
But what she's saying is, well, Bill, if you do that, then you open it up for everybody else.
But we declare that full-time instead of part-time?
No, that wouldn't, no, we can call him a full-time job. We wouldn't open it up for anybody else.
No. I'm just talking about his
I mean,
job.
just talking out loud. It could be a
Well,
full-time job.
I thought, I just sat here and listened to it, I thought it was determined by hours.
By hours.
Well, how do you pick his hours?
How do you know how many hours?
do one, I'm an elected official.
So I don't know.
I don't have to keep going, because
You know, I do have a part-time job over at the gun store, but I've left that job to do coroner's calls. This is my primary focus, is taking care of the coroner's office.
If he's made full-time. Oh, yeah, wait, if it's based, I thought I heard her say it's based on wages,
It is.
not hours. I thought I heard her say it was based on wages.
So what
So
wage
what's the breakout?
determines that?
I don't know where the breakoff's at, because when I came, that's how it was defined in the county, wages.
I have a little problem with calling a commissioner part-time. You come in here, and I do regularly in the mornings, and there's always a commissioner, or very rarely do I come in that you're not a commissioner.
Well, but they're not here all day like Janet's.
No, that's right, they're
37 and a
not.
half hours
I
a
agree.
week. That's probably the
But,
difference.
you know, as I sit here and try to think this through, instead of opening up the can of worms as part-time or full-time, the only way to get around this It's just in compensation, let him do his own. And that keeps it clean for everything.
Yeah, you just simply, when you write your, if that's what you wanna do, when you make your budget request.
Is it, do I
that should be
understand
in
this
there.
right? Is this
That's
correct?
And
Yep.
that's correct, right, Leslie, from
Yep.
your
That's-
standpoint?
Yep,
Well, I just wanna make sure, I'm not saying how, what I'm in favor or not, but
Right.
that's the cleanest thing to do.
Absolutely.
If we want
yep,
to do something,
absolutely.
all right.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out, then what's gonna stop Jim from coming in and saying he wants to be covered? He's an elected official.
Nothing, but that don't mean we have to approve it.
But but this,
I'm just saying,
but this is compensation, so therefore we're not.
you're just open.
I
agree
understand
with
what
you, I
you're
know
saying.
you, and I don't, but
I-
I'm just saying what could happen.
I didn't say how I was gonna vote or anything, I
Right.
just asked, but that's the cleanest way to do it, if you
Yep.
wanted to do something.
Another question. Like for all of us that are on, like Randy, us, whoever, and if our wife's on there. Now,
Yeah.
do we pay a different, are we covered more than what she is? I mean, are we paying totally for our spouse and the county's paying partially for us, or how does that work?
The county's paying for both you as the elected official and they're paying a
some of
por-
the spouse
and they're paying a
also?
portion of the spouse, yes. Yep, a good portion of it.
Because what they take out from the spouses is not covering the cost.
Right, correct.
I think if you would make that request in your budget, you'd have to take that into account. That you wouldn't be totally covering your wife. Unless, because you're paying for part of it.
That figure you threw out at somewhere's near 2,000, 2,200, whatever it was, that was you and your wife both.
That's the coverage I currently have.
That's right.
But you're paying
But
part of
that's,
that.
but that
coverage you
figure
currently have.
covered two people.
Right, and, I think it was 12 something for just myself.
Yeah.
So-
That's going through this company.
So 1,000 of that 22 would be your wife's coverage?
Apparently, yeah. I don't know, if you're going to do that to save money, and then you end up having to compensate for not spending it, you're not saving the money. I think the cleanest thing to do would just be to stay with the strict definition of elected officials like it is and just move on.
But the
But
point,
you gotta remember, Randy, we didn't write the Obamacare
Right.
rules.
but the point
We
is,
gotta abide by them.
the point is, by removing those 15 individuals, it's saving $215,000 as of January
Not if you
1st.
compensate them for not receiving coverage that they're already receiving.
I mean, removing what we pay part-time people, will save 215,000, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
In a case of his, like, I don't know how much you pay towards your insurance out of your salary, but that should have to come off of that $2,000. If you were gonna make that request, I don't know, it's gonna be up to council if you made that request, whether we'd approve it, but that's, I'm like Tom, that's about the only way I think we can get out of it.
And that raises other questions too, like Kim said, if you allow one to do it, you would have to allow others, but then there's another question too. Do you pay for just them, or do you pay for their spouse too? Do you pay for their family? It just opens up a lot of big can of worms. And in trying to be compliant with ACA.
This case, to me, I'm gonna talk about Randy.
Okay.
Well, and it basically, all it's about is trying to save money.
It is, that's the
Okay.
big
It-
scheme of
it-
things. Yeah.
Randy just happened to fall in that one particular spot.
did.
It isn't about Randy.
Right.
No, it's not.
My question then would be, Pam, where would we, what kind of savings would we say the county would save if it just insured the employee and employee only? Elected officials
Of these
too,
15.
but no wife, spouse, or children.
significant other.
I mean, would we get back up to that figure? And if that's the way we have to look at things, that's the way you gotta look at it.
And I'm sure Leslie could get that information for us, provide that.
And I'd like, that's a good idea, I'd like to see that figure, Kim. Forget about those spouses, because you're really compensating, the county's really compensating a good share of the spouses insurance too. And just take them off, see what that figure is.
Yeah, see what,
Well, I have a question. I have a thought that I can't get out of my mind. Does this not fall somewhat in a thought pattern like EMA director? Maybe he should be a full-time, just like the EMA. She's not on runs and stuff every day.
pretty much the same as far as.
It's
Pretty much
kind
in
of
the
one of
office
those.
every day.
Huh?
Pretty much in the office every day.
Well,
All day.
maybe that's the
not
way,
be.
maybe that's the way, maybe that's the way it ought to be. Then if he wants to get insurance, then he needs to be in the office every day.
You in your office every day, right?
Oh,
I'm in the office when I
But
need.
Glenn, you gotta go back to, at least what I'm hearing. I'm not telling you this is fact. What I'm hearing is
We're talking.
a part-time employee is differentiated from a full-time by some amount of money that they're paid. Now, the question is, well, where's the line? I don't know. But I guess we're not talking about how many hours you're spending in the office. It sounds to me like we're differentiating a part-time from a full-time by
Salary,
Their compensation.
by salary, yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
And where did that,
Why can't anybody give us this figure?
and where did it come from?
What figure?
What-
The breaking point.
What determines full-time, part-time?
As far as
Salary.
monetary.
Jen,
Okay, really quick, Glenn, to kind of, I think what you're kind of getting at, for Amy, no matter what, she has to get 37.5 hours in a week, correct? No matter what she does, and she has to put it down on a time card. Randy could work 1 week, 10 hours, the next week it could be 40, but she, no matter what, has to have 37.5 hours in.
And she documents.
He doesn't necessarily have to have that every week. I think that's the difference that you're looking for, and I think that's what maybe they're trying to get across. Just throwing that out there.
That's
She
okay,
does.
well, that might be, but there has to be a criteria.
I appreciate, yeah, I'm just searching out of this.
Right.
But they're saying a dollar figure determines that. And what's the dollar figure, where'd that come from?
That was set by you guys, it was the dollar figure when I came here, based on you guys' salaries and the commissioners, the coroner.
But we never established that if you make this amount of money, you're either full-time or
We
you're
never
part-time.
did, that, we never set any time on
That's
that.
what I ever
No,
knew
we
about.
never did.
No.
It's just,
I'll tell you how we
Full-time salary
how we
versus
ended up being
part-time.
on insurance. I'd probably been here
Forever.
12 years or more, and never any insurance. And this one day in a meeting, somehow it come out that, hey, you guys, if you're interested in being on the county plan, well, you can go on. Well, why not go on? I'm self-employed, paying my own, why wouldn't I go on? And that's the way it started, but I'd been here for a long, long time before they ever offered that.
Yeah.
And when I first got on the council, other than the highway and the sheriff's department, there was no county insurance for anybody that worked here. None. And Dave Roush said, when that come up, well, they all got husbands that work, we don't need to pay for it, just like that. Ben Gates said, Dave, you better offer it to everybody if you're gonna offer it to some. And that's how it come about, somewhere along the way. But there was a day there was no county insurance.
Since the commissioners, you want my opinion? The commissioners and council, you guys are the ones that are in charge of the policy. You administer the policy, you guys fund the policy. You guys can choose to take yourselves off of the policy. He is the only elected official, I believe, besides you guys, that we took off the plan. The other ones are solid waste, which they're not, they're not even really potentially part of
The county.
the county. The WIC, WIC is, but they aren't.
EDC.
EDC. They're ones that make sense to take off the plan. They're not really county employees.
Well, I'd like to see a number of taking the spouse off, just as a matter of seeing how that worked out, you know, before we just put this thing concrete, that we kind of at least look at that. But the question to Don and to Glenn, because you're the only two solid waste members here, do you plan to, in their budget, to take care of the insurance down there then through that budget?
Yeah,
We do.
but I'll be honest with you, I knew it was in there, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't know he was on our plan. I just learned that when we started talking about who has to come off.
So, I mean, he'll be covered through the solid waste budget.
Yeah, but he pays for it.
He pays for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally?
Nah, I don't know.
Just about like the rest.
He pays his share.
Just like
yeah.
the rest of the county
Yeah,
employees do.
yeah.
Does he own
So that's
the,
really a fact.
But I'm not, and I don't want to open a can of worms here, but I'm not sure how he exactly qualifies to be on the county plan.
well, I was gonna ask that, how,
I
is
don't
he
know.
on a
Don't ask
county
me,
plan?
because-
He's not a
Yeah.
county employee.
He is today,
He
yes.
is on the county plan, and I don't know how that happened either.
I don't know, when we brought it over last year, it was written in the plan document, so we mirrored the plan document when
Yeah.
we took over
Doesn't have
last
problem with
August.
with you guys, is it, that he's on there?
Well, that's one of the reasons that we made the recommendation when
I
we
think
looked
it's-
at it again this
I
year.
see.
It's kind of, to me, it's kind of as easy as, who gives him a W-2?
It's not the county, he doesn't work for the county.
So, he's not a county employee? And I'm not trying to open a can of worms here, but I've kind of wondered about that one
Well,
myself.
I don't think he's the only one. I think, don't we have, John Meyer, for instance, isn't he on the?
Well, yeah, we talked about that, and Dan Sigler.
Dan
Yeah.
Sigler.
They're off too. They're off too. They know that. They know that.
There's some things that we still haven't cleared up, and that's exactly what makes you full-time or part-time.
I think the wash for this thing are two things. What makes full-time versus part-time, and how much is it gonna cost if the elected officials can't have their spouses, right? Isn't that kind of the two places? And that's how I would sort of terminate this and say, we have to have those numbers.
Could we have those numbers by next Tuesday when we meet?
Yep, absolutely.
Give them to Jan?
When, when's our
Yeah,
meeting?
next Tuesday, 12.
Well, but that's not up to her, that's up to us somewhere, line, whether we call him full-time or
Well, I
part-time.
think we'll look at these numbers.
Yeah. I could get you
She's
the
the one that
spouse
can
part.
give us the non-spousal numbers.
Yeah, that
But
she can
the
get.
other one, I'm not on it, I wouldn't even know where to start to find out.
But I think that's what we need, Bill. I think we
I do
need
too.
a number next week when we talk about it. When we get a chance to think about Randy, and Randy's got a legitimate
Oh, yeah.
concern.
Yeah, he does.
And it's just something to look at. And I think the commissioner was right in looking at ways to save.
You are covered till the first of the year anyway, under the current policy.
Everybody's covered with the first of
Yeah.
the year. That changed January 1, so, but I think these numbers could be an important thing to consider when we move on. And next week, we'll go through this stuff and
I just think that's the two elements that it boils down to.
And I don't know how drastic the numbers will be different between the two, but if the savings is reasonably good with taking the spouses off, I'm not too sure you shouldn't do it in increments a little bit to see how it works out if it's feasible. And if it isn't, it isn't. 'Cause I don't know how much the difference change taking spouses off of it. It's just something, but I think we need a little time to digest this, just a little bit, just got to throw it on us this morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, and Randy, you know, he's got a legitimate concern, but
Well, Randy, work on your budget there a little bit, so it's ready to go to 12
With both ways.
and both ways. and
Give
we'll
us a
get
chance to
the
Well,
think about how to do this.
the county's paying too much for my insurance. My insurance covers, drugs, right, prescriptions. I don't need that.
Well, you can at any time choose to decline coverage.
Yep, you can,
Okay,
you can
I can
cancel
decline
coverage.
that coverage?
No.
No, everything. You can at any time get
it's
off.
either all or none.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I don't need it all.
That's why I was, that's,
He needs it, but you don't need the prescriptions.
exactly,
No, I
that's
don't
why
need
I
it.
brought up this whole thing about
But they
Medicare and
can't, they
business.
can't cut the prescriptions out.
Yep.
Well, I didn't know whether,
Yeah.
if I'd thought you could, I'd asked a
Yeah.
long time ago,
Just-
but
Janet, does the
we're
council have
county
the
paying for something I
power
don't need.
to to offer him insurance and him only. If we decide not to take it, and we say, I would want Randy to have it, do we have the power to do that?
I think that you guys could say that you don't wanna take it funding wise, but say funding wise, you wanna give it to Randy and make commissioners include them in the policy, they would also have to, they're administering the policy, you guys are, they would also have to. approve
Somebody
that.
could scream discrimination.
I think you have to make the cut.
City,
It's not gonna be me. I'm just, I don't, that's not a threat. It's not
You
gonna
gotta
be-
look at, you've gotten.
I was at a council meeting for the city, and how they handled it was, if they're older people, when you get to be on old enough for Medicaid, you're off the insurance.
Medicare.
Medicare,
No,
yes.
Medicaid.
You are off the insurance. That's how they handled it at the city.
Wow.
That still doesn't cover Randy.
I'm not totally sure that's
Well, that-
legal, Glenn.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure that's legal.
Well, I'm just saying, I know that's how they handled it.
Okay. Because Medicare says if your organization offers health insurance, you have to take it. So now maybe they would say, well, yeah, but if they say you're on Medicare and you can't have, maybe so, but
They're saying we don't offer.
Well, we got here, and I don't know we have any today, but we did have with Denny Finker and Patty Cook both. They were past the age to be, you know, even, they were past 66 and still working and on the county's insurance when they both, you know, if they could have gone earlier, I don't know how old you have to be to go on Medicare's. Is it 66?
65.
Whatever. And they were both past that because they both stayed till they were about 70 years old. But they was on it. I don't think you could have forced them off of it, I don't think.
Well, the reason for people like me, for instance, who are Medicare wanting to continue the insurance is for catastrophic coverage. Basically.
I don't know why you couldn't, when you reach Medicare age and you're still employed or working, and you take them off the regular insurance and take out a supplemental policy that you provide in lieu of the regular, because they're on Medicare.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
I tried to do that,
Because-
that was with the other insurance.
You know, I know when my mom passed, went over to Parkview, got an MRI and died, I got a bill for $130,000, you know, and I think, well, good thing she had Medicare and a supplemental policy, and, you know, they write a lot off, and the two others took care of it, but, you know, initially there, I'm looking at a bill for $130,000, you know, so, I mean, it just doesn't take anything for you to be in financial ruin nowadays.
absolutely.
But your insurance company could not just say those that are eligible for Medicare, go on Medicare and you pay, and the county take care of that, you can't do just a supplement.
That's part of Obamacare's rules.
Well, they couldn't even do that some years ago, our other insurance companies.
Before Obamacare, that was
Because that's what I wanted to do, was
That, I mean, we can't force because of age you off the group plan.
No. No.
I mean, we can't do that.
That's called age discrimination.
Well, we'll get that around for us for our 12th meeting.
Yep.
We appreciate that.
Yep.
We'll talk a little bit more. Brandon, we have this transfer. Anybody have any questions? We need to approve the transfer. Jenna, you want to say anything on this?
How much is it?
550.
Yeah, 550.
Okay.
Any questions for Randy?
I move we approve it.
that's second.
First and second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you.
Thank you for consideration.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It just, somebody along the line got to tell us how you determine whether you're part-time or full-time.
Cause more headaches and grief.
I mean, there has to be a point that says that's what it is.
Okay, Mary? Sorry I had to sit through that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay, it's interesting, I'm always learning stuff when I come to these meetings, so it's fine.
Yeah, you'll be there someday.
Yes, I will be. I came today because I'd like you to reappoint Tony Gatton to the board. He's fulfilling a term that Dennis wanted when he resigned, and I'd like you to reappoint him to serve another 4 years on the Peabody Public Library Board of
He's agreed.
Trustees.
He's agreed.
And I asked him and he's agreed.
Oh, well, that makes it easy then.
Okay.
I move we approve it.
Okay, got a first, is a
I'll
second?
second.
A first, second. Any further questions? Not, all in favor, raise your right hand.
See, some things don't take long.
Thank you, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
Because I accidentally printed this, double sided.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Commissioners report?
You think they're coming around to find
Our meeting yesterday was exceptionally short, wasn't it, Bill?
Yeah, it was.
It was nice. It kind of, we started out that meeting with a petition to rezone an area. It's 81.098, I don't want to get into all the details here, but it's 81.09 acres in Richland Township. They wanted to make 14.7 of that into park and recreation for a hunting lodge, placement of a hunting lodge, which then brings up the question, well, what's the other 66.39 acres for? And it's for high fenced hunting, deer hunting. And so the plan commission passed it 7-1, but the commissioners decided to table it at this time for more information. There were several concerns. The biggest one right now is Indiana recently said you can use a rifle to hunt deer with, and 61, all of you guys know, all of you know what 61 acres is, and that's not really very much. And if you're gonna be shooting a high-powered rifle, there are 6 houses around this area.
Have there been objections from the citizens?
Yes, sir, yes, sir, there were, yeah, I saw the list of it, sir, yes.
That did get a new,
We too listened to John Myers, same thing you guys got. Ty Murphy came to us. There's a beginning movement to establish a Vietnam Veterans Memorial on the courthouse lawn. I think we can all appreciate that. We were all there, I think. Well, Bill was World War
Korea.
Two.
1912.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, you have the cannon, don't you? I'm gonna lose any votes I had right there. We think it's a good idea, and we asked him to go ahead and pursue it. We'll find room. I can't tell you much about the next, but Phil Valjack came with a public concern, and quite frankly, it involved personnel issue, and so we just simply heard him out. We did nothing. We thanked him and sent him on his way. Parcel committee.
Wait a minute, Don.
Yes, sir.
On that
Yes, sir.
memorial.
Yes, sir.
I was in the funeral home one day, and I called while I was in there and talked to Terry Smith. And
Oh.
So we talked about the Korean War memorial.
Yes, sir.
And Terry, he, I think, sold them that monument or whatever they've got.
Oh, did he?
there.
Okay.
And he said, he said, we contributed a little toward it and so, lessened cost. But anyway, then he talking to me about this Ty's request. So I think, if we do something, he said they raised the money to put that up themselves.
Right,
And I think that's a precedent's been set, that I don't think the county should just.
I'm sorry. The county wasn't asked for any money.
No, okay.
I apologize.
Just for-
The county was asked for permission to put it
Okay,
on.
okay.
Now, he did say later, in his little talk about maybe the county kick in, but we didn't address that.
he didn't ask for it.
He did not, did he? But his plan is to go to that, first of all, he wants to know, is it even feasible? If it's feasible, then he wants to go to the county, the Whitley County Community Foundation and start a fund where,
I just wanted to give the background on the other one.
Yeah. The other thing, though, that we thought about was, in reality, Desert Storm's not far behind.
Well.
So we have to save room for.
Well, that's gonna go on forever.
Well,
We're gonna be in reverse.
unfortunately, it is.
Well,
Yeah.
but By the
Yep.
time I'm dead, I'll let, if I can keep living.
I guess as a citizen, I wouldn't be opposed to them putting them up there, but I'm not sure the taxpayer money should get involved in that.
And it's not, there's been no commitment on that, so.
Wasn't even a request.
The other thing I want to discuss with you today, I think we probably, I wasn't here at your last meeting, and I apologize for that. As a commissioner, kind of working with the highway department, I should have been here, and I apologize. I think perhaps we got off on the wrong foot, and again, I apologize for that. We're not asking for a new position. We're not asking for a highway director position. What essentially we're asking for is to increase the foreman's pay. That's really what we want, and that's what this particular form here shows you, that we'd like to move his pay to $56,409. And then these numbers that you're looking at in the yellow, the 2016 savings of $26,000 is not really accurate. Neither are the other two, the 178 or the 151, because we're only talking about 66% of the year for this. First 4 months are a wash. So to do it right, you'd have to use 66%. But in all honesty, that's where we are. We really want to have the foreman position brought up to, and his job description would be changed to include all the additional duties that have to be done by the foreman. So, again, I'm very sorry for what might have happened last month, but I really wish you'd consider this. Extra note, there's no property taxes involved here. These are highway funds that we're referring to, that Brandon's in charge of. There's no vehicle here, there's no extra insurance here. This is strictly,
Excuse me a minute, Don.
yes, sir, you go right
This was
ahead.
brought up to the Personnel Committee. The job description for the foreman, we had a little issue with it. And
Yes, sir.
When the day was over with, we ended up tabling it, but job description was taking some of the responsibility of the engineer or I would take the superintendent of highway.
Mike's old job?
Mike's old-
Yeah, we know what we're talking about.
Was taking some of his duties and putting it towards the foreman.
Mhm.
Well, the hangup with the personnel committee was that when Brandon took over, the responsibilities were as is. Michael's responsibilities were the same, right?
Okay.
Okay. Well, the job description pulled some of them responsibilities away from Brandon and give them to the foreman. Or I think at that time, Pam might know, was it a director?
It was a director that was brought.
That, to me personally, that was the mistake. You should have never seen a document that said director or supervisor. Kim, that's wrong. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to increase the foreman's pay. So, and you're right, it wasn't this group, it was personnel committee. But I think a statement was made too, that it probably should go in front of the commissioners and the council and then to personnel, though there's where we're, so the commissioners favorably approved it yesterday, and it's coming before you. I guess then it goes to personnel. That's kind of not my bailiwick, I apologize. I'm sorry. But that's the way I kind of got the message, so.
I just wanted you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, because I should have been here, and I apologize for that. So that's what we're looking for, gentlemen.
If we take responsibilities away from one position and put it on another position, then would it not be logical to think that the position you took responsibilities away from would receive a little less?
Well, he is. He is receiving less. Michael got 60,000. He's getting 25.
Okay.
I guess
You're answering my question.
This still shows, and again, I want to be very upfront with you. this shows a 2016 savings of $26,000,
Yeah.
but it's
you answered
not.
my question.
But it's not, because we're only talking about 8 months and not 12 months. So you have to take 66% of that, as would you the total wages, as would you the total wages. So,
Yeah.
but there's still there's still a considerable savings there. So quite frankly, we didn't pay Brandon 100% to do that job.
Yeah, no, you answered my question.
Okay, thank you.
Don, basically, that's what he's doing now, right?
I'm sorry, the foreman?
Foreman, yeah.
Foreman, yeah.
How-
Yeah, I sort of,
You're the commissioner who watches after the highway department. Can you give us a little report on how that's going?
the whole structure?
The whole
Well,
structure, yeah.
let's vote on this question, then we talk
Okay.
about it.
Okay, and the answer is no, but I'll talk to you about it in a minute.
Don, the only
Yes,
thing
sir.
I would like, as sitting on the personnel committee,
Yes, sir.
before it gets to us, and I'm gonna tell the council, I would like to see both descriptions. I'm a little confused now of what Brandon's duties is.
Okay.
And what the foreman's job's gonna
Good
be.
point. That's a good point.
I'd like
Okay.
to see both descriptions, what,
As is, without any.
as is right now.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jana. Could we vote on that at this special meeting when we work on budget next week? We can take care of that, can't we, if we need to vote on,
Have to be
doesn't have to
public.
be advertised or anything, does it?
Yes.
Vote on it then.
But the only thing, these figures aren't gonna change, and we're still saving money, because we're paying Brandon half of what Michael was making. Then we're just moving.
I get where Kim's coming from, totally get it. I have a big commitment next Tuesday. I can't possibly be here, and I really feel like I should have been with him at personnel. I think we could have, I think there were some feelings that we could have eliminated, so, had it been explained.
Yeah, but I don't
properly.
have a problem with this, it's just raising the foreman up a little bit, and Brandon's still working for half the salary that Michael was getting. And we still got a savings.
And you're gonna
As I see
deal with 2017 next week, right?
Right.
So so I'm not even talking 2017, I'm trying to get this done from May through the end of the year. That's where I'm coming
I'm
from.
gonna make a motion to approve this for this year.
Pam, did you have something?
I did, July 20th, we are meeting again with the personnel committee, and I can bring those job descriptions at that point. And I think, Don, would you be available July 20th, just to review that, if we need to? At 9 AM, am I right, 9 AM?
No, at 9 AM, I have a personnel committee on my,
Oh, that's
Day
it, you're gonna
timer.
be there, okay.
I guess she's
So
already
that'll
been
be-
there. She's
yeah.
already, yes, I will be there.
Jen?
For this, if I could just make a quick suggestion about how we handle this. When you guys do decide to approve it, rather than making the wage retroactive of May, can we just pay him a lump sum of the money that he should have received between May and now? Or whatever you guys decide to make it effective, and then start the wage from then on?
Oh,
Way simpler.
Yeah, we've done that before, it is simple, yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
Okay, we have a motion.
Tom made a motion, waiting on a second.
A second.
Okay, we have first, second. Any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same.
Thank you.
And what are you gonna, do we have to have another motion to pay, to do this back pay that you just talked about, or is that included in this?
You approved
It would sort of seem to me you approved it, how she does it is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
provided it costs no more money
right,
than what you approved.
right. You good with that?
Yeah, and I will, we'll pay the lump sum. I'll have to calculate the amount, and I will let you guys know,
Right,
okay? But regardless.
so you're good.
Now, can I go back to your question, please? Kevin's been on vacation, but I will say, if you drive, there's a plan. I'm talking about chip seal. There's a plan. It started in Jefferson, moved its way up, and I think you're at the Troy now.
It's on 450 West this morning.
You know, I just think, unless you've heard differently, I think things are going very well. It seems like the guys want to work. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie to you. I look at Facebook. I'm a Facebook guy. I look at Facebook yesterday, and there's a lady posted pictures of our trimmers. And it was her contention that our trimmers were taking a break half as much as they worked, or the same amount they worked. Now, I think that's unfair. She took pictures of them. She didn't take any pictures of them working, but she took pictures of them standing by the chipping machine. That really disappointed me. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're all out there working, and yesterday was a crappy day. Today's a crappy day to be out there, but I wasn't very happy with her response to that.
Well, they can't all be working at the same time because they gotta wait for different things to happen, but I'll say this, I think they've made good progress on what they're doing.
I'm just really tickled. I'm tickled with the overall, you know, the department seems to be going well. I've had no complaints, but also the complaints I've had over the last year about the milled roads that are now chip sealed, I haven't gotten any thank yous on that either. So, I didn't really expect it. So I think it's going well, and if it's not, I'll promise I'll tell you. I'll make sure you know about it, so. And that's all I actually have, but Pam has a presentation for you.
I've got it right here.
Did you hear that? She got an uh-oh.
You scare us.
Yeah, wage increase time.
This home enrichment?
I've already got it.
Oh, you've already got one, thank you.
If you forgive me for just a minute.
Yep, go ahead.
I don't want to make sure we don't forget to approve the minutes, Ken. I so moved. If that's all right, or you want to wait?
Well,
You're not going to forget, right?
I won't,
Okay.
because there's some changes.
Okay.
I'm gonna put one in here for Paula, just
Yeah.
so you know.
Good.
John, I gave him one as he went out the door. Just real quick, annual wages, looking at proposing again this year. I wanted to go through this first sheet with you, just very quickly, to show you where we're at. Number one talks about Whitley County government, that's our employees here. For 2016, based on full-time average wage, we're at $35,545 for average full-time wage. Now, if you look at number two, I didn't have 2016 statistics available yet. 2015 Whitley County, that's our whole Whitley County, including private and public sector, okay? The full-time average wage based from the Bureau of Labor Statistics was $37,596. We're still behind a little bit. I wanted to point that out. I liked what John said here when he talked about EDC and bringing in new businesses and new jobs. And I know Bill sits on the committee, he can probably attest to this. They don't bring them in or want them any less than average wage, correct?
Trying to.
Yeah.
Trying to, okay.
It's-
And I think that's a great move. That's a great move.
First thing that hits me though with the item number 2 is that includes California and that,
No.
What? What includes California? Number two?
yeah.
No, that's just Whitley County.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's just
Oh,
Whitley County.
Oh, I see, Whitley County.
Yep. Number 4 talks about turnover, just from January 2016 to June 2016. There's a total of 21 people we've lost just in that amount of time. Now, 13 of them are voluntary, broke it down a little bit. And I can tell you the turnover rate's up. I think you guys know this because of what the sheriff said in here a few times ago and told you about his jailers. That does include the jailers, so that's why our turnover's up. Job growth, number 9. That's amazing, and EDC's just doing a fantastic job, and they're just not stopping. They continue to push. But through economy.net, the future job growth for 2017 for Whitley County is at 46.1%, so that's amazing. And then there's just some other statistics there about the increase in cost for food and overall health care. Other information, I really find it, number 4, City of Columbia City I did talk to the mayor. They are proposing a flat raise of $1,200 for all employees. They're gonna continue to put $2,000 in their HSA accounts. We also questioned about what do they do for people who don't have medical insurance, who aren't on their plan? And I didn't know this, I learned this year. They give them a flex card, and they can put $2,000 on that flex card and allow those people to use it for medical throughout the whole year too.
That's only for medical, correct?
That's only for medical, but great benefit there. Number 5, Whitley County. This was in there last time, and you know where you guys are at as far as wage increases. There was 2 years, 2010, 11, there wasn't any. We went to a 3% in 2012, a percentage of 1.7 to 2 over 2013, 2% for 2014, 3% for 2015, and 2% for 2016. Number 6 talks about the advantages to offering a same wage increase to all employees. It's simple to calculate. It's least conflicting, provoking method to use for employees. A lot of what I hear here is, you know, I've only been here a year, but this person's been here 10 years, and you're given a 2% or 3% raise, and I'm not getting enough to, it doesn't seem fair. I hear that a lot from employees. So with a straight across the board raise is what we're looking at this year. We're trying to develop and incorporate that uniformity and fairness as an employer with the people. If you turn that page over, some real good statistics on the back, just a couple more I wanted to share with you. Number 8, if we look at giving a flat wage increase, and this is what I'm looking at for option 1, it's $1 an hour based on 37.5 hours a week. That's what most majority employees work here. It would be $1,950 across the board. Even with that increase, based on your average wage in Whitley County and what we pay our employees on our average wage, we're still $101 short. Now, I know that's a big bump, $1,950, but it gets us right back up there where we need to be in the range of being competitive. And we have a lot of good things that can support it this year. Number 9 talks about our health fund. It's amazing. We have $270,000 in our health fund right now, which is great. We've already taken $50,000 out of that for a payment towards that loan for our medical last year. So we're going to put $100,000 towards that total.
That loan, by the way, was for a transplant.
It was for an organ transplant.
Which we
and that,
won't have anymore.
we won't have that anymore. That's down in the next one. I'll show you
Okay,
that one.
sorry.
That's amazing. Also, the commissioners are taking $200,000 from their CEDA to put towards that loan, so we're hoping to get that down as quick as possible. But number 10, Bill is right. With this new insurance, as of August 1st, 2016, we will no longer ever be exposed to an organ transplant expense again. Everybody's covered under a special provision that we put in this plan. Even new hires that come on, they're covered as well. So that's a great plus.
The ones we had, he's covered for another one?
Yes,
That's a possibility.
it is.
Oh, yeah, always.
It always is, yeah. But yes, he is covered now. He will be, yeah. So that's great. And then number 11, kind of really just talks about overall savings the commissioners have worked very hard to do. In negotiations with Preferred IT, with our medical insurance and our EMS contract, I mean, these guys are looking at a savings of $591,000, which is great. Even if we include what we did for County General, I think you guys voted on the jailer increases, if you remember. LOAT helps us a lot. But even with that $45,000 increase to County General, and if I put in option 1, $1,950 across the board, it's a big number, $213,000 for County General. I don't include community corrections or highway or the LOAT, because remember, they have their own. We're still saving $331,000. I just really wanted to point that out because I feel we have this is a good year. It's a good year to try and up those wages to where they need to be. And we have the foundation and hopefully the funds to support it this time. The next page shows your annual savings of what I just went over. The next page shows our claims fund request, and that's where we're at in our medical fund, which is great, $170,000. We're even hoping to December, we're going to put another $50,000 towards that, but we're hoping to make a payment too
for our medical out of that to save even more, around $100,000. Here's option number one. Starts with the green page up here at the top. Shows county general. Shows everybody. Your 2016 wage, if we did it $1,950 across the board, and there's your increase. Next 4 or 5 pages, and then you get a total of county general right down at the bottom. I included incentives and grant monies, keep in mind. So that's where I came up with the $213.629 increase to county general. The next page is community corrections and highway. You can see their increase. I put them at the same because they requested that, $1,950. You're looking at $77,000 increase for community corrections and highway. Now, on highway, I did something a little bit different. Under option number 1, if you look at highway and community corrections spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Okay. We included the $1,950, but if you look down at the proposed highway rate, I think I shared this with you the last time the group was in here and I gave you a copy. Remember, they are also proposing to increase the truck drivers and the operators because they are low. I provided that summary sheet for you. That is on the very back of this packet again, just so you know. Looks like this. We went through and I picked all those numbers from the AIC fact book, showing you how I came up with the $3,178 in addition to the $1,950 that we're proposing for the highway. And I do know that the highway is going to be receiving extra funds to be able to potentially support some of this for the upcoming years.
2 years in a row, isn't it?
2 years in a row, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen those numbers.
Yeah,
but yes,
I think
they committed extra.
And then Lowit, obviously, will increase 3,200, so there's an increase there too. Now that's option number 1. Option number 2 is in the orangish. It doesn't go much lower only because we're still behind on the county average wage. So I didn't do it much lower, guys, only because I feel this is a year we can certainly do it. Monies are better. I've spoken with Jana, and Jana and I have worked, Jana's worked with me on this as well, and she's seen these numbers and reviewed it. So has George and Don. It did get a favorable pass yesterday from the commissioners for option number 1.
One of the things that we're below the average wage in Whitley County. But when we talk with new industry coming in, we push for that. They don't always get it, but at least have them pay them as close as they can to the average wage. And it's kind of, we're not practicing what we preach.
And I think Jana can speak to you on this. With the flat wage increase, they potentially are going to have to do something different with the chief deputies.
Right, ordinance amendment, there is that says that make 85% of the elected officials' salary. We're proposing, so it's fair that everyone that notation will be taken out of the salary ordinance, and those positions to approve the new wage of those chief deputies.
Yeah, fair for everybody. K County's doing the flat rate too. I don't have the information.
We did it for years.
Yeah, prior to that, you had done that. I do know that. I talked to a couple individuals, and it used to be that way. And it does promote fairness. I've talked to some of the employees. I've talked to a lot of the department heads. The auditor's done some talking too. They're all for it, for the flat wage increase.
I've heard no complaints.
I haven't either. So. But again, these are high only because we want to try and be competitive. I want to try and get that turnover number down. I really do. And not all of that is bad turnover. And then when I say bad, we've had retirees, we've had, But I can tell you that recently, because of the price of gas, we've lost 2 individuals, one to Allen County and one to Kay County, that are making about $10,000 more in their current job than here. And they're driving further because gas prices are low.
We had that problem in the past where we trained dispatchers, and they,
Yeah. We're losing another dispatcher too, coming up in August. Any questions? Yeah.
Any questions for me?
And I have all the information, it's where I got the statistics. If anybody wants to look at them, I'm more than happy to. I'll share that with you. I left one for Paula too. Thank you.
We need to have a salary ordinance amendment for the foreman.
We will
That would be
pass.
great.
Yeah, what we just passed.
And then I can do it, yeah, thank you.
A salary ordinance amendment for the foreman's job.
How do you get that?
She's gonna get up the paperwork and then you guys can sign it.
Next meeting?
Yes. So we already approved it, it's just a matter of.
yeah.
Look, you have the right paperwork. Okay.
So I hear a motion.
I'll move we approve it.
I'll sign it.
Okay, first and second. Anything else, Tommy? No, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same. Okay, we need to approve the minutes from the last, we got 2 to approve. Do you want to approve them both at the same time?
Did you say there was changes, Ken?
They've already been made, but there was a little issue with one here.
I move we approve them subject to the.
She's got a chance.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Have a nice week.
You too, guys.
Stay cool. It's gonna be pretty bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Council have anything else?
Brandon, got anything?
You all right?
Huh?
You welcome over here, take your seat.
No, I just wondered, I didn't know if you had anything.
No, I was just here for support.
Okay.
That's good.
Answer any questions?
Jim? Brandon?
I'm just here if anybody's got any questions, or for support on the other.
Amy?
Likewise, just here to take it all in and just general update regarding the derailment still is ongoing at the South Whitley location. There's still one tanker car that's still there. We're checking with, the Norfolk Southern Railroad. They have requested the permit from the Federal Railroad Administration, and that has been accomplished a few weeks ago, but they said it could take up to 8 more weeks to get that clearance to be able to get that rail car out of there.
Getting into that west crossing?
That's
Now
correct.
they're working on that east crossing.
Right.
You're redoing it?
Right.
The bridge is out. South Whitley's kind of what you considered a
disaster area.
It has been.
That one that had the liquid that was a little.
That was real bad.
Is that taken care of?
No, that's the one that's still there. That's
Oh,
why
that's the
I'm,
one that's still there.
that's why I'm trying so badly to get that out of the county. I really don't want it sitting there any longer than it has to be, but it's regulated in a very difficult way. So I just kind of wanted to provide a general update to you on the status of that.
Is the stuff still in it?
There's a smaller amount, but still stuff in there because they couldn't get it all out of there. About, they estimate about 100 gallons, which is a lot in our realm of things, but to the railroad, when they're dealing, it's nothing.
Yeah. I want to thank you for all you do.
Oh, I appreciate that. We've actually been pretty busy. We had, over the weekend, we had an accident, actually Brandon was out there with me too, on Anderson Road. The FedEx truck had left the roadway and crashed into the ditchway. Lady was airlifted to the hospital, so those kind of things also I assist with as well, so.
What was the one last night out here on 30? Was you involved?
That one was
wasn't
pretty
nothing?
minor, yeah, pretty minor, not really anything into the roadway or anything there, so. All right. But I just like to take it all in, and like I communicated before, just understanding how the processes work, and it's a good education for me, so.
FedEx, UPS, you never know exactly what they're gonna have on it.
They could
It may
have
not be a large
anything on board.
quantity, but you never know what it's gonna be.
You bet, you bet. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Pass that back down to
Thank you.
Deanna.
Jen?
Okay. one last thing really fast. Jessica Hockemeyer back in, I think maybe 2010, I believe, something like that. She was full-time, she went part-time, she never left our employment, and then she went back to full-time. So she still, in our policy, she should have been still, when she went back to full-time, she should have been included with it for that. She should have got all that vacation that she had previously. She should have got all that longevity that she had previously. But because Vicki and Debbie both didn't catch it. So in November of 2011 for longevity, she should have received $100. November 2012, $150. 2013, $200.
Those years she was part-time?
These are the years that she went back to full-time, and we started her at level 0. If you want to look at it that way. And we shouldn't have, because she never left our employment. Now, if she broke our employment.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
If she would have left.
That's according to the personnel manual. I was gonna say, if she left her employment, then starts goes back to 0.
Right.
Yeah,
But
okay.
she didn't, she never did. She stayed as part-time and then went back to full-time. So we never compensated her for the time that she already had in before she went part-time. So due to Jessica, is $550. It would be paid out of the longevity line item in the commissioner's budget. There is money left over. There will be extra because of you retiring this year that had a lot of longevity built up and they quite extra there. So we just need your okay and approval to pay this $550 to Jessica that she is due.
That's where the personnel manual is. I don't see we have a choice on that again. I know with Kathy,
Gardner.
upstairs.
Kathy Gardner.
Yeah, she'd left one time, but she come back within a month, didn't she?
Well, pretty shortly.
Yeah, I mean, just real quickly, and we never took it away from her. Because she wanted to try something and didn't like it, come right back, and we just left her alone. So we set that precedent on that, but I guess I didn't know how it was when you went, from full-time to part-time.
Me either, I never thought about that.
That's what the policy says. I guess I'll make a motion to approve it.
Got first and second.